So one thing that is a common controversy that people accuse you of is the champagne socialist.
Mm-hmm.
Can you explain what a champagne socialist is?
I think a champagne socialist is born out of the misunderstanding that like
Socialists
socialism
have to be
implies
poor.
that you have to be poor.
No, that's not what it comes from, and that's not what it means. It means when you wear socialism as an aesthetic, when you preach about the evils of capitalism while thriving in it and living your best life and taking absolutely no steps whatsoever to either live a socialist lifestyle, which doesn't mean poor. It means empowering or enabling people to participate in sharing the means of production in your own businesses, or maybe empowering or enabling mutual aid programs to usurp or supersede other local state programs or other charitable things or whatever, like, because mutual aid is a better way to do it. Champagne socialist just means you don't believe in anything you're saying. You're essentially grifting.
That born out of understanding that like
this?
socialism implies that you have to be poor, that like you can.
I hope they push. Oh, it's so stupid. Please don't let them get away with this. Oh, I can't have a $250,000 Mercedes Benz or whatever the car he bought, Porsche. I can't have that, guys. Oh, I guess socialism is when no car, huh? Socialism when no car. Oh, kill me, bro.
Understanding that like socialism implies that you have to be poor, that like you cannot be successful, and that like everyone has the same thing. Like it's socialism is about like instituting by force the same standards of existence for everyone. You know, the gray city blocks come to mind. You know, social housing, Soviet era.
Maybe equity instead of equality.
Yeah, exactly. That was the word I was looking for. Thank you so much. It is about equity instead of equality. That's what people misunderstand about socialism. It is not about equity instead of equality at all. We don't have material equality as a baseline in this country. We don't have that at all. I'm advocating for a baseline of material equality, and I'm advocating for better worker protections, better worker rights, and less alienation.
That's all a lie. That's a lie. What he's talking about can happen in a capitalist system, and it is explicitly not what socialism is about. It's not about materially equal conditions. That's called welfare or redistribution, which capitalism can do, right? You're talking specifically about getting rid of or eliminating the profit, or at the very least, redirecting the profit to workers. You want to destroy private ownership because owners that don't work shouldn't be collecting money off of people that do. That's fundamentally what your belief is. And that's not even like this is what Marxists believe. This is what you believe. You said this on stream, motherfucker. Oh my God, it's so cringe. He's going to walk on all this. He's going to walk on all of this. Me.
I don't have that at all. I'm advocating for a baseline of material equality, and I'm advocating...
Baseline of material equality. Yeah, every capitalist on the left does this, Chief. Like, it's...
At all. I'm advocating for a baseline of material equality, and I'm advocating for better worker protections, better worker rights, and less alienation from labor, and more autonomy. That everyone can have a say because they are a part of the puzzle, that everyone that touches a project also has some level of say in what gets done with the surplus labor. So it has nothing to do with like, you know, making sure everyone is poor or whatever the people think.
Please. Ask some real questions. Like, oh, so like in your ideal model, you would ban all private ownership. No more private, no more investments like that, no more private ownership of any businesses. All of that would be 100% banned, right?
Thing about socialism, I don't really care too much about it as far as like thing about social do with like, you know, making sure everyone is poor or whatever the people think about socialism. I don't really care too much about it as far as like as far as an own. Like people will be like socialism, but you have an iPhone, or socialism because it's like dumb things that you buy that are very expensive, which is true. I do. I buy expensive from time to time.
Me, bro. Oh, it's so gross. I'm equally upset with the iced coffee hour. Bro, he should be getting raked over the coals for answers this horrible. My God, like he should not be able to wander outside of his $5 million WeHo mansion in his $250,000 Porsche. He should not be able to wander outside of that without having somebody hold him to task for the insanely incoherent belief system that he preaches on stream and the one that he lives by. God, it's so cringe.
I'm an idiot that you buy that are very expensive, which is true. I do. I buy expensive from time to time. I'm an idiot, but I've always, you know, these are things that I wanted to buy. Of course, you know, it's not I don't find that to be like, I guess, a marker for your political beliefs at all.
So
There are levels to it, though, for sure.
right, but to a casual viewer, that
There
just-
are levels to it. Which level are you on, Hasan? Is the multi-million-dollar mansion and $250,000 car, is that like closer to like max level capitalist, or are you still down on like the proletariat level of capitalism?
kind of hears about you and maybe sees a few clips of you, a lot of the times it's like ranting on people, like wealthy people, and oh, people need to be taxed more. There's a privileged person, and then they look at your lifestyle and they see that you bought this fancy, $3 million house or whatever. You have a Porsche. You got like, you got canceled for $1,000 shirt that you wore to Coachella.
I did, yeah. That was so, God.
People think that socialism is when poor. Huh? People think socialism is when you have no clothes.
Anyway,
But you see how this juxtaposition would confuse a lot of people and be like, this guy seems like a little bit hypocritical.
yeah, no, for sure. I understand that. But there's nothing I can do beyond the fact that, like, this is not explaining that this is not inherently contradictory to the things that I advocate for, especially considering that, like, I have no issues with being taxed more. I pay the tax rates that I do in California that you probably know better than I do. And although the spending on those taxes is
Socialism is when you pay your taxes. These are like the most. It's like his idea of socialism. Actually, everything he said, his idea of socialism is what Republicans called socialism in 2005. Wow, you want protections for workers? Labor unions, the socialist labor unions? Wow, you want high taxes? Socialist tax brackets? Wow, you want to create a baseline welfare redistribution? Socialist welfare? Like, none of this has anything to do with socialism, mother. These are liberal ideas that can be implemented in a capitalist system. None of this has anything to do with socialism. I hate how he's such a coward. He won't wear his beliefs on his chest. Say what you believe.
not.
Yeah, he LARPs as a sock dem on these podcasts, while on his own shows, he's like a terrorist, genocidal apologist for the worst and most disgusting regimes of the planet. It's unreal that like the Zoomer rise of like the socialist cuckery allows people like this to go on. Like he should be treated like Nick Fuentes or worse on these podcasts, because at least Fuentes is smart enough not to openly say, I love until he was next to Kanye, right? Whereas Hasan does say this openly on his platforms. He does cheer on the Houthis. He does cheer on every time. What was his last night covering the missile strikes? Oh, it's so gross. It's so gross. It's so disgusting.
Best. I wish that they would spend it better. I still see that as my patriotic duty, knowing that at least some percentage of that is still going to places that desperately need it, like schooling, like the roads, and whatever.
Yeah, this is socialism is when taxes pay for roads and schools.
Social amenities that are offered, the marginal amount of public transit that we do have, I guess. Overall, it's not inherently contradictory. It's not about, socialism is not about forcing people to live a certain set of standards, and but that's impossible for me to change the mindset of every American. We are all conditioned to hate socialism in general. I think I've talked about this before.
Part of the conditioning of hating socialism, by the way, is when conservatives would do what Hasan is doing right now, and that's when you conflate socialism. And when people say socialism, they think of like the Soviet Union and the Holodomor and like Mao's China and the Great Leap Forward. People are thinking of this, and you're like, oh yeah, but socialism is also California taxes, bro. Socialism is when my taxes go to schools, bro. Like, this is why people hate like the left. Not even the left. I shouldn't say like the left like that. But this is why people hate like Democrats and liberals when they try to conflate them with socialism. It's so funny. Democrats spent so long fighting against ideas like, bro, taxes and welfare are not socialism. And now you've got these like 15-year-old pure white Aryan that are just trying to get popular on TikTok, okay? Mentally, that's where Hasan is, 15-year-old white kid, okay? That are trying to get popular on TikTok and streams and YouTube saying like, oh, actually, bro, yeah, that is what socialism is. Like, me.
Before, but I think one of the
This is a guy who said that we would have to re-educate capitalists in our society, by the way. Like, is that...
If you're in a socialist country with multiple parties...
This is California taxes and welfare, okay? This is what Hasan means when he says California taxes and welfare.
If you're in a socialist country with multiple parties, and one of the parties is a capitalist party, which would surely exist,
Yeah.
what would you do if that party started gaining momentum?
God, Ethan is asking such a question. You murder them all! control. That's what the leftists do. That's what Mao did. That's what they did after the Bolshevik Revolution to other lefties. That's what you do in a leftist country. When you are an illiberal and actual problem for
trials,
hear that Hasan can press that he can get some confidence
No one
back?
cares. Not to the same degree as like McCarthy's trials or anything like that.
Well, hold on. Not to the same degree as McCarthy's trials. Excuse me. It's not like McCarthy, like, unilaterally controlled in an authoritarian top-down manner the federal government and then, like, went around and arrested and threw into gulags people that he thought were communists. What is the comparison here? What? Can press that he can get some of his confidence back?
Not to the same degree as like McCarthy's trials or anything like that.
McCarthyism, the guy that hunted down everybody for.
I would.
But what do you do if they're like, enough that we're doing capitalism?
Yes. Also, see the debate tactic here, because Hasan knows the question and he's dancing like crazy because he doesn't want to answer it because he knows it's like a.
If everything is given to you, then there is no need for conflict of that regard. The solution to that would always be.
What would happen if there was a capitalist party? Oh, comrade, in my system, no one would even want to be a capitalist, comrade. Oh, welcome today on the Destiny subreddit. I say there are no criticisms of glorious leader Destiny here today. It must be that everybody agrees with him, comrade. Yes, that is true.
Education and
re-education. He actually says it.
That we're doing capitalism.
Yes.
If everything is given to you, then there is no need for conflict of that regard. The solution to that would always be education and
re-education camps.
Re-education?
He says it.
Re-education, certainly. Yeah. Good.
So what would be good about a socialist re-education camp for capitalists?
It wouldn't necessarily. I don't think it'd be camps. I mean,
Well, it wouldn't be camps. And now on this show, well, socialism is when like California taxes and welfare and labor unions, bro. Video games.
To change the mindset of every American, we are all conditioned to hate socialism in general. I think I've talked about this before, but I think one of the worst things that I ever said in my career was openly admitting that, or not even like saying I'm not a socialist. I wish I had never done that. It doesn't matter what I advocate for. If I had never said that.
Why are they not pushing back at all? Well, one is because I don't think that's what they do on the show. Their show isn't to like fight with people, right? Which is fair. I want them to push back because I think he should be obliviated for doing this like terrorist genocidal apology, whatever the you would call it. We need a big word for this tanky apology of bullshit. They don't typically push back on their show because it's just not the format that they do, and they also might not know as much about like everything he said or all the background on everything. So
I had never done that. It doesn't matter what I advocate for. If I had never said that, and there are plenty of people who don't, that have almost identical values to me, that
who name two who has identical values to you that don't call themselves socialists? Who? He's going to say Bernie Sanders and AOC.
And there are plenty of people who don't, that have almost identical values to me, that are received in a much more favorable light. As a matter of fact, celebrated for how kind and how open-minded they are. But when you get hit with that socialism sticker, everybody goes, oh, Venezuela, Stalin. You want, cultural revolution in this country. And or whatever they think the socialist boogeyman is. I think that was a major L for me, I guess, but because I'm so stubborn, I just, I can't shut the up, and I should have. So it grifted a little bit.
So making money, and
he's saying, what is he saying? He grifted by pretending to be a socialist, but he's actually far more moderate. What? I don't even know what was just said. I don't actually know. I don't know what was just said. Where's our early streams or whatever? Like, this is a guy that didn't he have like the whole like hammer and sickle background and all this bullshit? Like
with the drama.
Like this is all just like a grift, I guess, or when he's chatting on the deep platform, it's all just like a grift, or he's saying he was grifting, pretending not to be a socialist at the start.
Or whatever they think the socialist boogeyman is.
You misunderstood what he said.
But when you get hit with that socialism, that are received in a much more favorable light, as a matter of fact, celebrated for how kind and how open-minded they are. But when you get hit with that socialism sticker, everybody goes, oh, Venezuela, Stalin. You want, cultural revolution in this country. And or whatever they think the socialist boogeyman is. I think that was a major L for me, I guess, but because I'm so stubborn, I just, I can't shut up, and I should have. So it grifted a little bit.
So making
Oh, he's saying, oh, I understand. It's hard to hear. He's saying should have grifted a little bit. I was saying he should have grifted a little bit, I think is what he was saying there. He just came out slight. But he did grift technically in the beginning because when he was friends with me, and he's grifting right now technically by pretending not to be a socialist. Who the knows? It's like Schrodinger's socialism. Like when you push it, it either dissolves into tankyism or the most benign center-left positions possible. Socialism is when high taxes, strong unions, and funding our schools. Congratulations, you sound like a cosmopolitan liberal, which there's nothing wrong with, of like the 2000s. Like,
I appreciate that, Destiny.
all right, bye.
Remember to hit that like and subscribe, and don't forget the notification bell so that my videos show up right in your feed.